lo and behold, Dr. Rugby got the measles. They got really sick. I remember getting all this thick mucus in my airways, just like scraping it out with my hand. I
Yeah.
couldn't breathe. It was horrible.
Hey,
You
George,
also,
titers. I think it's one thing to just mention about titers. And the question has come up quite a lot recently in my area, uh, not just adults, but and our patients, but my colleagues. Should I get my titers checked? That there really isn't a reason to do that because
No.
majority of our immunity is cell mediated at this point, and titers are not going to tell you if you're protected or not.
okay,
Well,
so I'm gonna have you that because we're both on speaker bureaus for Sanofi, right? You on the Beyfortus side, I on the type 1 diabetes. And we do that work because, like you said, as pediatricians, we want to avoid bad outcomes, right? So on the Beyfortus side, you don't want a kid with bronchiolitis in the PICU. On the type 1, I don't what's even the drug's name, T-seal. I don't even care what the drug's name is. But T-seal is not the thing what I want is kids to be diagnosed early with autoantibodies so that we can prevent the children ending up in DKA at presentation of the PICU. So we do that a lot. So what's the difference between what you're talking about titers? What is the difference between autoantibodies or antibodies and T cell immunity, which is what this vaccine does and many vaccines do?
I am a general pediatrician, and I'm not going to pretend to be a specialist in immunology, but I'll tell you my understanding as a general pediatrician. There are some diseases that we get protection from, primarily from circulating antibodies, which are produced by B cells, and you can, as a correlate of immunity, check to see what your titers, as in the levels of those antibodies, are for a particular disease, and say, oh, this person is protected. This is not the same for measles. The live virus vaccine that we have does produce some B cell response, but the majority of durable, long anamnestic immunity for measles vaccination is derived from T cells. It's some mediated immunity, and you can't just draw some blood and check that as easy and demonstrate that point. I can assure the listeners, some of whom may not be physicians, that if you have been properly vaccinated with 2 doses of measles vaccination, you have 98, 99% protection. You are as well protected as you can possibly be. That being said, it's also important to understand that if you have immunity levels that drop below a certain threshold, such that there is an increased amount of circulating disease, that every time you're exposed to the condition, it's a challenge to your immune system. And so our vaccine work 2 ways: by giving us personal immunity, but also vaccinating the community so there's a decreased amount of circulating disease such that we're having less challenges. Every time we have a challenge to our immune system, it's a challenge to our otherwise good immunity. There's still a chance that immunity could fail.
That's right. So that's the best kind of immunity is immunity that the T cell immunity, because that's the one that prevents you from dying. And that's there till you die. It's just with you. The antibodies have to wane. Otherwise, it would be very hard for your immune system to allow you to live. You get exposed to something, you fight off the disease, and then the antibodies disappear from your bloodstream because they're not necessary anymore. And then there's an army of cells that remembers how to fight off that invading army into your body that keeps you safe for the rest of your life. That's how it works in layman terms, as far as Dr. Hoffitz explained it to. That's all I know because immunology is very difficult. This episode is sponsored by our friends over at Freed AI Medical Scribes. Let's hear what they have to say. What if you could take the computer out of the physician-patient relationship? With Freed, you can. Freed is the AI medical scribe that listens, transcribes, and crafts perfect SOAP notes for you seamlessly. This isn't just another productivity tool. Freed is a life-altering solution for physicians, helping you regain the joy of practicing medicine. Freed frees you from the burden of documentation, so you can focus on what really matters, your patients. With Freed, the computer is no longer a barrier. It's a quiet assistant that works in the background, capturing every word of your patient interactions, accurately and quickly. The result: you're fully present in each visit, building stronger connections and offering more attentive care. And when the day is done, your notes are too, leaving you with more time to focus on yourself, your family, and your life outside of medicine. Freed is the solution thousands of physicians swear by to reclaim their passion for medicine.